The Ohio State Buckeyes in their quarterback room have the equivalent of a first world problem, which is you have 2 5-star quarterbacks. You got to pick one to start the year. Got to pick one to be your QB1. So how do we go about picking that? There's a lot of fall camp that I think is going to help decide that. But we had a conversation with ESPN's College Game Day, the GOAT of college football as far as I'm concerned, Kirk Herbstreit. And we asked him this very question, said, do you have a feel as it pertains to the Ohio State quarterback room? He said, one, I don't even think they know, which is a nice problem to have, having so much talent in that room that you feel pretty good about your options. The other thing he said, and this is where I want to really lean in, why not let it go into the fall? If it leaks into the first couple of games, it's not a bad situation. Saw your rival do it last year and have some pretty good success. So that's what I want to really talk through right now. How should Ohio State pick a quarterback? I think we have a solution for you. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because we talk college football every single day. You love the sport. We love the sport. We want you a part of this. All right? So thank you for that. Also follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JDPakel. Thank you. So the disclaimer on all this is if it's clear during fall camp, like if hey, we got our guy. Hey, Devin Brown is really separating. Hey, Kyle McCord is really separating. He looks like the guy. And that's it. Okay, that's it. Don't try and be happier than happy. When you got your quarterback, you trust what Michael Scott said from The Office. Keep it simple, stupid. Because then, in a perfect world, that's what your situation would be. You have a quarterback that you can start to tailor the offense to as you get closer and closer to the season. You also have someone that your team can buy into from a leadership standpoint. Because like it or not, you're QB1 at Ohio State, you're QB1 anywhere, you are in a leadership position. Got to be the guy at Ohio State if you want to reach the potential for your team at Ohio State. Does that make sense? So if it's clear, pull the trigger. Name him the starter. Make it clear he's a starter, at least internally, if you don't want to announce it publicly for gameplay standpoint, from a gameplay perspective, rather. But like that's the perfect world you want to live in. However, the reason we're having this conversation and the reason why I 1,000% agree with what Kirk Herbstreit said, you don't need to pick a starter based on your schedule until a couple games into the season. And so if it's going back and forth, if it's kind of neck and neck, the luxury you have based on your talent on your roster and based on the way your schedule sets up, you can afford to be as certain-ish as possible. Because both these guys can sling the rock. Like they have 5-star guys for a reason, okay? They got the credentials to go with it. So with your schedule, first 3 games are as follows. At Indiana, you play Youngstown State, then you play Western Kentucky. Nick breaks Hilltoppers. No disrespect to any of those operations. If you lose any of those games, regardless of who's playing quarterback for you, you have bigger problems than your quarterback position. Okay, so we'll throw that out there right now. But what I'm trying to say is maybe you treat this kind of how Michigan treated things. Like maybe you kind of just let the competition reveal who's supposed to be your starting quarterback. Because it's one thing to drop back there in a non-contact jersey during practice and make plays. Like you want to see it. It's a great thing to build off of. It is a completely different situation when the bullets are flying and you got real 11 on 11 and you're on national television. Everyone's watching the Buckeyes. Like that's a different scenario to walk into. Got to kind of have a little bit of the it factor, even if it is against Youngstown State or you're at Indiana. I mean, at Indiana, you're still on the road, which will kind of be a luxury to see what these guys have under the hood. What I'm trying to say is competition is a beautiful thing because it's not going to lie to you, especially not in a sample size of 3 games. And all 3 of those games, Ohio State should win. I think it's a great opportunity to figure out what you have under the hood and who you have in a bright lights situation for both those quarterbacks. Because remember how we all felt going into last year, and I hate to keep going back to Michigan because I know you Ohio State fans, you don't like it, but here's the deal. It worked out, so we're going to talk about it. Everyone was talking about, myself included, hey, Cade McNamara, man, won a Big Ten title for you a year ago. I don't know how you turn away from that. Then we saw the first 2 games. We saw what J.J. McCarthy did compared to what Cade McNamara did, and we were like, okay, that's your quarterback. He won the job. It was clear to everybody, outside and inside. You want to have your alpha separate from the pack. Could be a great way to do it if you're Ohio State. So here's the importance of this. Why would you go about doing this? What are the benefits of doing this? Same reason you test drive a car before you take it off the lot. I want to know if we have problems before I go on the highway. I want to make sure that everything driving this car works great before it really has to perform for me. I'm going to test drive it. I'm going to test drive it because that's what my position is. It's what I'm afforded to do right now. Same thing for Ohio State. This is the most important piece for Ohio State to get right. We think the defense has really improved. We think that the transfer portal pieces they've gotten are going to help them. I think the talent on that defensive line is really solid. There's no question about the skill players. They went through the portal and beefed up the offensive line. Like, everything for Ohio State offensively, if they're going to continue to play at the level they've played at a season ago in the last couple of years, quite frankly, starts with the quarterback. All the talent in the world in that room. Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. To be honest with you, a lot of other teams around the country would give a left arm in their kicker to be able to have one of those guys in their room. Ohio State's got 2 5-stars. It's a good way to live. But you got to get it right. Way you get it right, in my mind, you watch the tape in a real game. To quote AI, talking about practice, not a game. No. Let's talk about a game. Let's watch them play a game and see how they do. I think it's important. I think it'll help Ohio State in the long run. You won't have to worry about that guy. You won't have to question that guy when the lights turn on. You get to be certain at Ohio State. The room lets you do that. By the talent level, the schedule lets you do that. I'm excited to see it. Make sure you're subscribed right here. Go check out that interview as well with Kirk Herbstreit. Phenomenal stuff. Went all around the country. Talked about the Buckeyes as well as a lot of other top teams. We're glad to have you here. Check us out on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find The Hard Count. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.